Hey class, let's talk about architectural drawings now. So you might have a file like the one on my screen where you have a bunch of stuff. You might have a couple of these files. Let's go ahead and work off of a new file. The only thing that we need it's the aggregated model with the Boolean union and all of the faces merged. So in this case, it would be this model right here. Let's go ahead and press Control C for copy. And we can go to File, New. Let's go ahead and create, let's do large objects, feet and inches. It might be helpful down the road. Go ahead and create open. And let's go ahead and Control V as in Victor. Press Control V as in Victor to paste. Right. And we have our, or you should have your model on a new file. And let's go ahead and maybe speaking of new files, go ahead and File, Save As, and have a project over here. Let's go ahead and call it something like this: semester, year, graphics to art drawings, a lecture. You can go ahead and call it lecture. I'm gonna call it lecture rec because it's the file that I'm using for recording, but you can just go ahead and save it as lecture. So we save that, and this is going to be your next project, and we have a new file. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and select my object, right click, zoom selected in all viewports, and I have this model in all my viewports. Go ahead and set it to shade so that I can see better what's going on. Okay, and we're going to use a command that some of you guys might be familiar with, which is called make2d, and we're also going to, I'll show you guys right here. So we're going to work with the make2d command, and we're also going to work with line weights and fills, and something that is called layout space, as you can see right here, so that we can generate a sheet for printing. Okay, so let's maybe start with some line with some new layers. We're gonna call this line weights, and again, this particular step might work differently once you perhaps get the hang of it, but for this exercise we'll go ahead and create this line weights, and we can we're gonna assign them a different thickness. So we can assign them a 1, right? So we're doing like a what, P1, right? And then we're doing like P2, P3, except that we want them to be on the main, P4, P5. And we may need a 6 one for grounds and things like that. Okay. And if you see right here, right, we're gonna get into this print width right here. Okay, but first let's go ahead and explore the make2d command, which I think most of you guys have done by now. Make2d, I can select this guy right here. Actually, let's make it from this face right here. Make2d, I'm going to select this object right here, my front view. So I'm going to do my front view, enter. We have this dialog box that comes up. I think we want to keep everything as is. Click OK. Right, and before you click anything, right, I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to get this out of the way. right? And I can escape. And we're actually missing, actually have an extra line here. I'm not sure why. We can go ahead and turn off the grid. Show grid, turn it off. And we're going to assign line weights to this flat view. So if you see on the right side, we have a 2D version of the object on the left. And they're all curves right now. They're all lines. And what we need to do is assign them a different thickness so that we can depict that depth, right? So it's quite simple. And, oops, right, how we can do that. I think that line is extra. Okay, so what you want to do is assign a line weight to this. So you see you have your layers over here. You have the material, the line type, and then you have the print color, and then you have the print width. Okay, want to mess with that print width. Okay, so we're gonna do our P1, our lightest. Let's see if I can move this. And P1, our lightest. We click here, and let's do a hairline. And you see right here the width. And you can start assimilating this with your set of pens. So if you recall, you have like a 0.005, 0.1, 0.3, 0.5, etc. So we're gonna select a few of these. So we selected the hairline. We're gonna do a 0.13. P3 is gonna be 0.3. I'm sorry. P4 is gonna be 0.5. P5 is gonna be 0.8. And P6 is going to be 1, a really heavy line. So right now, what we've done is created a extracted the front, the lines that will make up the front view of the drawing, and we've also created layers with we'll call it line weight, and there's this print width over here. And if I so we know now, right, that again, if we take a look at the drawing from here, we know that in this case we're drawing the front view, which is this view right here, and we know that there's different depths, right? So we know that the objects that are closest to us are the ones that are that I'm highlighting with yellow right now, right? But then we've got objects that are further behind. Right? So if I select now an orange, for example, and I need to make sure that I think right, the next one would be this objects right here, right? And then you'll see that, which again, it's maybe if I maybe do it like this right here, you see that this is the yellow over here. And then we have the orange over here, right? Except that I'm noticing, right, we're noticing that this one is actually hidden back there, so we don't see it here actually. And then I cannot really see this one or this one's right here from where I'm have my model, but we'll get to that. But from what I can see, we also have this other face right here, right, which we only get a glance of that over here, right? Because actually I just realized that this should be what? Yellow as well, right? And again, like I said, there's something, these objects over here, Right now, from my perspective here, I cannot really see, but we'll get there, and we'll see. But what I'm trying to get at is that so far we have at least three different pens, and that we can actually assign from this list that we have over here. So I'll talk about which one should be the one that is closest to us and moving further behind, because we really want to keep it, between 3 to 5 line weights. I think lower than that, I don't know if it communicates enough depth, but more than 5, it also, I guess at some point you lose also some of the contrast between the different line weights, and it's actually becomes hard to read. So let's see. And I can do this from the top view or from the perspective over here. And I'm actually going to use both. I'm actually going to flip this. I'm actually going to set this as my top view, and I'm actually going to set this as my perspective. And I'm actually going to turn off the grid on this viewport as well, which is my top view now. Show grid axis. I'm sorry, that's the axis. Show grid, which you can turn off too as well. So, so we know which ones are the objects closest to us. Are this one and this one over here. Okay, so I can select those lines, and I'm holding Shift so that I'm going all around it. Okay. And I can assign them down here. I can change their layers, right? To I don't want to do a 0.8 or a 0.1. I'm gonna maybe leave those maybe a 0.8 for a section cut, and maybe a 1 for a ground plane, or other things. So maybe I'm gonna start from 0.5. So the ones that I have selected on my top view, I'm gonna set them to that would be my 0.5, which is P4. Okay, and you see that the color has changed, right? The color has changed. What we cannot really tell, what we cannot really see, is that line weight difference, because according to me, right now, between that line and that line right here, there is no difference in line weight. Let's see if we can change that. All right, so making sure that you're on your top view, type print, and then there's a second option right here called print display. Okay, and you see right now that the state right here, it's set to off. Let's go ahead and click there, and then this option appears. Click where it says on, click there, and you hopefully saw that now this line right here became thicker, and you actually can see it way thicker over here. As a matter of fact, I can go back to state, click on it, toggle off, and you see how it doesn't show the line weights. Okay, so we have that, and it's helpful because we actually saw that we actually missed this one right here, but we can apply it to P4, if I'm not mistaken. Because P4, it's that. And if you want, you can add colors to this. You can add colors here, right? So you want to maybe keep track of them visually. You can, right? So you can assign this to a blue. And then later on, as you'll see right here, we can actually differentiate between the display color, but then also from the print color. So I can actually change that color to black, right? And you see right now it's showing us the print display, right? Because we went to print display, and the state right here is set to print. So it's showing us how the object would print if we were to print it. But if we click right here, it says display, it showed us as if it was displayed there. Still though, it is showing us the thickness, which is good. Which is good. The difference in thickness. So it's up to you if you want to work visually with it. It might be helpful, but the idea as well, I'm gonna set it back. The idea as well is that by you working with the appropriate line weights, that should be the visual cue. But maybe it makes more sense if as we move forward. So so we got those two. What else? There's another face that is close to us, which is this one right here. All right, and that should be the same line weight. So we can select it. Don't forget about your selection modes. All right, I can click right there. I think that's P4. And if it helps, actually, what actually might help as well is to write down right here so P1, for example, can be hairline, right? P2 can be 0.13, or you could just name them by the thickness, 0.13, and then I think we should have 0.3, 0.5, 0.8, right, 1. Okay, so moving right from the front back, right, which one, in this case, in this model, actually this face right here, let me highlight it for you. That face is actually in closest proximity to the viewer, in this case, this right here, than this one's over here, right, further in the back. So I can assign that object a different line weight. So it's not going to be the 0.5, it's going to be something thinner. So I'll do a 0.3, right? And you see right there it has now different thickness. And then the idea is to see if there's anything else that is within that plane on this view. And it seems that there's not, right? The all of the other objects, well, not all of them, but the rest are different line weights. So I think this one for me is at a 0.13, and then maybe this one right here is at a, we'll do a hairline. I'm a little bit skeptical about the hairline. We'll see printed how this looks. Right, so so we have the right layers, right? And again, can do a print display, and it's on, but I turn it off. You know, all of it. It's a single line weight, which is what we don't want, right? So I'm gonna go back, turn it on. Okay. All right. So we have one elevation. Let's talk about how to move forward with section cut and a layout. Okay, so I'm gonna stop the recording so we can pick up from there.